I don't have social media. I'm freaked out by all the privacy stuff. But I'd get it. I'd DM you if you wanted me to.
Yeah, I just want you to know that I really appreciate the job offering. I mean, between inflation and gas prices, it's... What? Denied? But you said it was the best qualified. How could I be... It don't fit the image. It's not like I'm trying out for an episode of Law & Order SVU. I just... Not up to date, but... Hello? So, Black Christmas. Not the greatest franchise. The original was fine, didn't exactly have me wanting a remake, but when is what we want what we get? This, as expected, failed, but that doesn't mean a second remake can't succeed. Fuck, it's a movie that had a mostly female cast back then, of course it's gonna get remade now. So, the question is, how do you successfully remake something the second time? Well, you don't. That would require effort, and I think based on the movie's marketing, that's something they don't have. Anybody who watched the film's trailer will notice various scenes missing, like this.
What the? This can't be real.
I bet you saw that clip and couldn't wait to see how it played out in the actual movie. The problem is, that scene and others aren't in the movie. This concept of trailers that blatantly lie to the audience is originally what caught my attention. However, upon viewing the film, I noticed something else. This movie is pandered toward feminism. I don't mean that in a strong woman kind of way. I mean that in a, if you're a man, you're probably a sexist kind of way. And no, I'm not talking about the antagonist. Considering the movie's theme, it's not surprising, but damn do they cram that shit down your throat. If you're into that kind of mindset, then you'll probably want to quit watching, as I personally don't wish to be labeled as a sexist if somebody decides I offended them. And if you're still living in reality, then sit back as we analyze the falsely advertised, highly feminized Black Christmas. The film opens with, well, a few things, but none of them are particularly relevant right now. That is aside from college student Lindsay, who appears to be being stalked while walking home at night. Also, she's receiving a text message while the supposed stalker is on the phone, so that's gonna mean something. Damn, that guy was lucky. That could have gone a lot different. It was a mistake. I know he had kids, but it was dark, and he was behind me, and he was a man. Not guilty. But then the real stalker turns up, and the only option is to potentially get somebody else killed. So, was it his house? What was the point of this? I mean, it's not like she's just gonna stand there and let him... Yeah, even though this guy refuses to move fast, I guess... screaming and running down the street in a residential area and calling the police are just not viable options. You'll want to enjoy this too because it's the only kill in the movie that's remotely decent and somewhat Christmas related. Because she makes a snow angel, I guess. Well then again, snow angels aren't really Christmas related, they can be done all winter, so yeah. Just a stupid death scene. Anyway, on to the important stuff, like sorority sister and main character, Riley, and the other important characters being Jesse, Marty, and political activist Chris. I say activist, as she petitioned to have Professor Gelson fired for teaching history she doesn't like. Yeah, it's also because he yelled at her for no good reason, and is in fact sexist, as the plot will soon show, but they could have just left it at that. Only make him a mean sexist man, then you'd have a good concept. Instead, they do dumb shit like this.
Yeah, but, I mean, are we just supposed to not study the classics?
Whose classics are they? 'Cause they're not mine.
Man, that's a good enough reason to destroy somebody's reputation. If he does end up being the bad guy at the end of this, that doesn't change this.
Because I think you're a sexist, misogynist dinosaur.
It's then implied that Riley is a rape victim. I mean, it's pretty obvious. But that's not enough to get her to sign the petition. Because rape and sexism are two very different things. And the way she casually uses this as an excuse to get her to sign it and then laughs about it, you'd think that this movie about women empowerment and men being evil isn't taking itself that seriously.
Because I think you're a sexist, misogynist dinosaur.
Luckily, her probably new best friend Landon agrees to sign it.
And the way Professor Gelson yelled at you in class was really lame.
And by Landon, I mean the token black guy. That's the only way to put it. If you take this guy out of the movie, it changes nothing. Apart from being a potential bad guy, I guess, but do you really think the film would go there? One of the evil men shows up, and you can tell he's evil by the subtlety in his tone.
We're going skiing together. Don't worry. It's consensual.
Screw you, Phil.
Ooh, he's good. I'm gonna lean toward him being bad, but honestly, it's right down the middle. They're headed to the DKO fraternity to take part in the talent show, and we meet Marty's boyfriend, Nate, who I could call the token white guy, because again, he mostly does nothing. But he does have some relevance, and we'll get to that. Riley witnesses some new pledges for the DKO, engaging in a ritual around the Calvin Hawthorne's bust, and saves Helena from being assaulted by a DKO member. Helena being the initial 4th member for the talent show, but now she's too drunk to do it, so Helena must take her place. After some important commentary.
What Brian did to you, it's awful. And it's terrible that nobody believed you.
That's right, women are not believed. That's why they have to make up fake evidence, admit to doing stuff on tape that they're accusing the guy of doing, and cause a 3-hour-long Me Too event to get nothing but mean comments on YouTube simply because she was there. The shit women go through. Well, I hope the show's at least good with all the damn drama built up to it. Wow, that'll show him. She immediately panics upon seeing Brian, which would be the end of the show. I mean, this is obviously not the plan. But she comes to at the last minute, and they sing about what happened.
Up in the frat house, shit went down, and I'm telling everyone in town, I didn't lead you on for goodness sake. I couldn't have 'cause I wasn't awake.
No. If your movie was really about rape victims, that'd be one thing, but it's not. It's about feminism, and it's using rape as a catalyst. That's why it's using fake scenes to market it. So when you have a scene like this, it comes off as more of a joke.
Because I think you're a sexist, misogynist dinosaur.
However, while they celebrate their victory with the token black guy, Helena appears to be in a spot of bother. Ooh, a cutaway. The possibilities are endless. For some reason, I'm not too excited. Well, more on that later, as the next day, the cat's paws have been painted, and they suspect the DKO boys. Well, considering the fact that they're rapists, and you just pissed them off, maybe exercise some caution? Or head out to get a Christmas tree. Yeah, why not? It's not like anything bad could happen.
Oh, there you are.
Aside from a miscellaneous side character being strangled with Christmas lights, but on the bright side, it is a Christmas-themed death. There's not many of those in this. But while obtaining the perfect Christmas tree, she gets a call from Helena's mom saying that she never came home. There is also that girl from the opening that never came back, but that's no reason to take concern.
Okay, let's not forget that she did have food poisoning last night and could have easily overslept and gotten on a later train.
Again, people missing, evil rapist you just insulted, maybe a connection. So much for empowerment, these women are fucking stupid. We see the side sister got killed off. Well, we don't really see it, just a mostly intact body. Come to think of it, why is that? Oh, it's rated PG-13. Well, that explains a lot. Yeah, apparently the reason for this was to make the movie more accessible to women who take interest in horror. In other words, this movie about feminism had to tone down the violence, resulting in almost no good deaths, because apparently women don't want to see that.
Are you out of your fucking mind?
She goes to the police because nobody else has a fucking brain in this movie. But the cop doesn't care because he's mean and nasty and horrible and a male and tells him that it's just a coincidence. She could have gone into more detail about why she made fun of them and the whole rape thing, but I guess that's not important. Police, I'd like to report an attempted murder, and I have a feeling it's because they made fun of his dead wife or something.
Well, we need more than feelings in this business.
Well, he did kind of have it coming, but I don't think you need that information. It's kind of personal.
What are you saying?
Well, I'm gonna take that as my right to privacy being gone. It's just that he didn't even like the last video. I mean, I don't expect him to subscribe, you have to look down to do that. But the like button was right there, right in front of him, and he ignored it. Alright, fine. I'll just tell them you said something offensive. Then they'll have your badge, you fucking cop. Now they do head down to the DKO building, but nobody's there, so that's that. Then Professor Gelson turns up, in which she views a list of sorority women he has, completely killing any suspense if there was any. And she learns that Chris posted their performance online, gaining a lot of attention, and she's not happy about that. I'm pretty sure it would have ended up on there anyway, but I guess just angering them was enough. I mean, why make a real difference? Then there's this confusing moment.
Did you watch it the whole way through?
I didn't need to. I loved it.
Okay, I'm pretty sure the whole performance makes rape kind of obvious. I'm not sure what this changes.
We're not inspiring people. We're pissing people off.
Yet you still release the movie. It's crazy. Jess heads off to the attic to get the exact same off-screen death because women can't handle it. And remember how I said Nate has one purpose in the movie? Well, this is it.
Okay, you humiliated those guys up there. Of course they're pissed.
And that gives them an excuse to harass us?
So, like I said, they should have used some caution, but it isn't right to say they shouldn't have done anything. I can agree with that. But, again, they had to take it a lot further.
Not all men are rapists, Chris, okay? I'm not. But you just lumped me in with the bad ones because I'm a man.
Nobody is calling you a rapist.
Apply it with your man-hating.
Man-hating.
Not all men are rapists. And do you think this movie is willing to discuss this in a reasonable manner?
I don't give a shit! Get out!
You're hysterical.
Nope, of course not. How dare he even suggest that he isn't a rapist? How offensive. I sure hope the false advertising and PG-13 rating got a lot of young women to watch this movie and realize they should probably just not leave the house again.
Because I think you're a sexist, misogynist dinosaur.
Well, at least the stalker finally attacks, putting an end to this nonsense and wounding Marty's leg. And despite Chris being so strong, she decides to send Riley to get the phone while she stays behind to keep an eye on Marty. Which is odd, because she likely caused a lot of this to happen, but it's probably safe.
Riley? What are you doing down there?
Oh no, it's the rapist denier! He'll never admit to his maleness. He's come to apologize for his disgusting allegations, only to prove that he hasn't changed a bit.
Someone hurts my girl, it's my duty to protect her. Show yourself, coward! This is a man!
Oh, that sick fuck got what he deserved, saying he's gonna protect his girlfriend. He'll burn in hell. Well, at least we get a scene that's Christmas and horror-related, with the mistletoe, and him being distracted by the Santa. And she kills him, using the same method the girl would have used in the intro, which she didn't witness, so I don't know.
Nate?
Nate? No! No!
He would have made a fine rapist. She gets the axe next, literally, and the evil cop shows up at a different location that's being attacked and pays for his feminist ways. The two confirm that it is in fact the DKOs, if that wasn't obvious. And upon escaping, they realize that this may have something to do with the Hawthorne bust and black magic.
No, this felt different. It was like they were doing something with this black stuff that was coming out of the founder's bust.
Well, that's the kind of information you should have mentioned by now, but better late than never, I guess. She says they have to destroy the bust, but Chris wants to go to the police. And yes, they imply that because the cop didn't listen the first time, they're not gonna listen now.
It was self-defense.
Well, you want to count on the cops believing that? They didn't believe me when I told them what Brian had done to me. So what makes you think that they're gonna believe us now?
Forensics? The fact that they're dressed in black robes and have weapons? Are you fucking nuts? But the strong woman doesn't want to help, at least until the climax, that is. But the token black guy does, creating a distraction so she can not destroy the bust. I mean, somebody is yelling, but it would have only taken a second. Well, it turns out Helena isn't dead, and apparently one of them. And not showing us the dead body kind of gave it away. And the token black guy joins them too. I guess he wasn't that nice after all. So anyway, exposition shit. Gleason's bad, obviously. They're a bunch of sexists that want to keep women in their place, as you know. And the black liquid allows the spirit of Hawthorne to possess the pledges, give them power, and kill women they don't like. I get the fact that they wanted to do something different, but who the fuck thought this was needed? Was a black magic element really necessary? I don't think it was. They even kill Helena to send a message and demand that Riley bow.
I'll bow. I'll be good.
Great, movie over. I can finally get back to reality. Instead, she slashes him with that comb thing that isn't effective. But then Chris shows up with a bunch of sorority sisters, who don't really seem to do a good job winning, but hey, the statue's unguarded.
We will never be broken.
Yeah, it looks too much like she had to think about it. I mean the line, it didn't flow.
Suck my...
Teach history in hell. So they locked the DKO kids inside, and apparently the token black guy was just being controlled.
I'm so sorry. Hey, that wasn't me. They did some magic shit.
Well, I hope so, as they kind of just let him exit the room, unaware that he isn't bad, so yeah. Meaning the movie can conclude on a meaningful, fulfilling note. The end of evil masculinity and the idea that progress has been made. That is, if you're an extreme feminist. If not, this is real bad. Let's just address the quote-unquote elephants in the room. The first thing being the false advertisement, which is likely because a PG-13 horror movie isn't that interesting, and the other being the extreme amount of feminism. Like I said, if they'd left it at that, the teacher only hiring white people, awareness toward rape victims, that'd be fine. Hell, maybe it'd be the best adaptation. But instead of that, we get the insane notion that men are evil and sexist, along with the good old concept that history should be removed. If you don't believe that, I revert back to the scene when Nate was thrown out for having an opinion, and the gall to say he isn't a rapist. You could argue this is only due to the horrendous character that is Chris, but the message is blatantly obvious. It's never implied that she's wrong in any way, even though she deliberately antagonized the people stalking them without asking anybody if they were okay with it, and didn't even want to do anything about it. But the extreme feminist women can do no wrong, so it's ignored. And even if you take all this stuff out of the equation, which is kind of hard to do, it's still not that good. Mainly because PG-13 horror movies primarily don't work, and this is a good example of why that is. Most of the death scenes are forgettable, half the time not even shown, and blatantly reused. It's a bit hypocritical to think a movie about strong women would have to lower its rating so they could watch it. But as any sensible person knows, this is nothing but a cheap attempt to cash in on the feminist movement. That's why it has a paper-thin plot with about as much suspense as paying off a credit card, cause I don't know if you've noticed, but it wasn't exactly that hard to pinpoint the main villain. But as we know, this movie wasn't about quality or any kind of suspense. Its focus was cramming an offensive message down people's throats and pandering to a demographic whose main goal in life is complaining about what they heard on social media. Does that make it the worst adaptation of the movie? Yeah, I'd have to say it does. It lacks any real enjoyment, and unless you're dumb enough to believe this shit, I'd advise you avoid it, as this doesn't really deserve anybody's time. I'm the analyst, and remember kids, if you're a man, you are by default probably a rapist, or at least very sexist. So, you made it to the end, an impressive feat indeed. Since you managed that, consider checking out the gaming channel, in which I cover a variety of gaming topics, like in-depth gameplay, and analysis videos like this one. If you want to see that, then press the link in the description.